Bäumen verdeckt. Alright everybody, hello there and welcome back again to one of my most anticipated visits here. UNESCO World Heritage Site, the entire market square, the Historic District of downtown Speyer, or Spira as it was once known by the Romans. Got the establishments done around 10 BC and therefore celebrated in the year 1990 its 2000th anniversary here. So we're just talking about more than just some ancient downtown district, and we'll have some more for you in a view. But starting out with a nice greeting. We just marched over from the central station from Speyer, saw a few little buildings, but this is the old portal. I'm pretty sure this refers to the old town or city gate, and most buildings in here are slightly untouched from the good old medieval days. We're facing only little obstacles during a destructive area of the 30 years of the religious wars done in the late 1600s. All right, everybody, just returning back from a surprise visit to the St. Joseph Church, if you probably noticed that, and just to let you know that good old Speyer is just full of these nice churches and bigger sized cathedral or historic monuments, as his own sakes. Okay. So we just had this organ concerts. This is also one of the St. Joseph, and right the opposite side we were welcomed by those nice bells from the Memorial Church, the Gedächtniskirche, which was built, and it's a little bit of a newer one, 1893 to 1904. And this is now, because of the opposite, a Protestant church in memory of the Protestant movements of what the city is known for in 1529. Remember, we are in Speyer, and it's after all the city of Martin Luther. I hope I can still make it somewhat to the dome. And although this is a bit of a newer church, we're talking about late 18th century or late 1800s, it has every little bit of a Baroque, medieval kind of a touch. Still a little bit debating about the statue over here. It could have been because it's carrying the book Gutenberg, but I believe this is the resemblance of Mr. Martin Luther, I would say so, the reformer himself, and all these guys in representations of the ones that were of the royal assistants in churches.
Ja, darauf, ja, das auch von Schwiegervaterseite, aber wenn wir nach Deutschland kamen, haben wir versucht, in Gesicht zu bleiben. Und ich weiß, meine Cousine, die hat geheiratet einen, der ist aus katholisch da drüben. Wir haben Baptisten gekannt. Ja. Ja.
By intuition, we have taken a right there before the old gate where we're coming back by the Post Gallery, and have gotten an ear full of history from the Memorial Church, the Protestant one, and there is some stories to tell. But now we're going back through the gate, through the old tour, to go through this historic masterpiece, to this time targeting the oldest known Roman church, as we just learned, in its kind. Introducing the Speyer shoe, and the good thing is it's even written in English. So this is probably the oldest known version of a length worth of a foot measure. Getting you through the gate in all its historical beauty. And now approaching the very, very old Historic District of Speyer. And there it is, the biggest destination in sight. Alrighty everybody, and as we happen to be in the town with nothing but history, this plate in here, this memorial already tells us about a building long time ago, and around from 1298 to 1340, this was eventually the former building, or the location of the building, of the press for the coins for the local mint. So here at one point in time, you would get your engravings, your coins, and your mints. And eventually it was then used for a city hall gathering. And I'm trying to translate this old German style into the English. And then I guess destroyed again in 1689 during the wars of, you know, Protestant and the Catholic. So we are already on the Dome Square, Dome Platz, and right behind me you already hear some little water going on. And as this is also a memorial fountain, which happened to be established and dedicated in 1930, so actually before World War II, a dedication to the fallen ones of the World War I. (1914 to 1918). and the historical building of the City Hall. A huge monumental structure from its very early Gothic days, and as I was told, in its own way, in its kind, it's the only fully available built structure in that time frame as it was built in and around 1030. Definitely some good work lined up for these guys as ongoing process of the restoration and reconstruction of this church. And as it's been monumental here, standing here, like I said, in the time since the 11th century, awesome example of early Gothic building power. And to the back we already have known what's the Dome Park. And if I get this somewhat alright, then this has some historic reminiscence of a wall with its tower. And it looks like I wasn't so wrong after all. This is neatly known as the Heiden Türmchen. Türmchen being a typical German word for a smaller type of a building, smaller town builder. It was built at 1280. That only gives me comparison to Bad Wildungen in its own kind. And it was the former defense tower of the city wall, of the wall surrounding the city here. And we're looking at some awesome piece of history right there from around the 13th century. And it does not really stretch too far into the back. Actually, we do get us here a little overall view of this thing. And as we get on the other side, an awesome view of an almost picture postcard perfect view of the dome, but as it goes lately with my lucks in churches, we remember the situation in Bad Willungen. Towers seem to be not on my preferred target list, as it also was under construction. And amazing as it sounds, Speyer, during all these wars, dating back after the War of the Protestant and Catholics, which was pretty much destructive all over the places, it did not suffer that much damages overall. And matter of fact, even on World War I or II, there was no attack, no damages at all to the city, and then therefore all to the churches. One we've seen earlier, the Memorial Church, was just happening to be built right before World War I and finished in 1904, and is in totally more like of an early historic masterpiece in its own ways, that got built and never saw also any form of destruction, and is therefore, by the way, presented in its originality. And I do have some more historic facts for you as we go. And amazingly as it looks and as it sounds, the church has, ever since it was built in the early 10th century, to be exact around 1030, suffered only minor destructions, and that was during the War of the Religions, the Protestants and the Catholic, in around the 1600s. And neither it suffered anything during World War I or during World War II. And we got us some little design of the layout of the inner part of the church. As this model will show. And there happened to be also dedicated with model from the full-scale church. As we just seen the real thing, this of course will give us a little easier view, and which is really amazed. Some information also written here for the blind. We'll do have some information translated here, but we definitely see it's been an UNESCO World Heritage Site since 1981, and it was first in use in 1061, but we know it was already built around 1030. And on the bottom of this historic masterpiece, you find another masterpiece, a dedication to our one of the most popular popes, Pope John Paul II. And I assume this would refer to a time in history where he must have had visited this church.